That's right, Spurs fans. Another day, another draft rumor.
Go, Spurs, go, 'cause the Giants stay.
What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. We're just going to get beat over the head the next 3 weeks with rumors left and right about trades, drafts, etc. But I love talking Spurs, so we're going to talk about it. I caught an article from Air Alamo this morning. I know some of you are not the biggest fans, but I'm seeing this just not from them, but from others too. From Jeff at Ken's 5. The Spurs could be eyeing Duke center Kaman Malawach, a.k.a. My Lunch. Thank you, Air Alamo, for butchering his name earlier this year. Quote, another buzzy name tied to the Spurs is Malawach, a 7'2" center out of Duke. The Spurs could essentially be building twin towers with Wemby and Malawach, and there's an appeal to drafting another young big. We've talked about Malawach earlier on the channel. No way the Spurs are drafting him at 2, right? That would be a huge reach. So what does Air Alamo have in mind? San Antonio can flip both of their draft picks to get what they want. The Brooklyn Nets reportedly want to move up to draft Dylan Harper, and they have four first-round picks, 8, 19, 26, and 27. We have talked on this channel before about the Spurs possibly trading the 14th pick for 19 and 26 or 27. However, they're not talking about trading with the Nets. They're talking about trading with the Wizards. The Wizards also have an additional first-round pick, and it lands at number 6 in the lottery. What if the Spurs were to trade their right to draft Dylan Harper to Washington for the 6th and 18th picks in the draft? They could draft Kaman Malawach with the first pick and Carter Bryant with the second pick. Of course, in this scenario, Malawach is ranked between, I think, usually on draft boards around 4 to 6, so there's no guarantee that he'll be there at 6. So if you were to trade to Washington, you draft Harper at 2, and then at the 6th, they draft Malawach who's available, and then you make all the trades, etc. Does that make sense, though? 6 and 18 for 2, is that a fair trade? I didn't look at Tankathon to get the draft thing up. I should have did that before doing this article. Too late now, but does that make sense? They could draft Malawach, grab Bryant. What else we got? As far as the 14th pick, Kevin Durant to the Spurs. And my gosh, I think it's going to happen. But how does it happen is a big question. Send the 14th pick along with Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson to the Suns with another couple of second rounders. All right, I will say this. I know a lot of fans are ready to see Devin Vassell go, but he clearly underperformed his contract last season. He had a down year, and we may have already seen his ceiling. Keldon, of course, is a player that a lot of folks have said trade. Seeing them both go would still hurt for me at least. These are the pre-Wemby guys. These are the guys that have been here with the Spurs only being a losing team. It would suck, but I would get it if the Spurs traded them both. That would clear up, $45-ish million of cap next year. Would that be enough for Kevin Durant, though? Will the Suns accept the 14th pick, Vassell, Johnson, and a couple, 2 second rounders, 3 second rounders? I don't see the Spurs giving another first round pick. I would hope they would not, especially at Kevin Durant's age, his contract. The Suns are in break it up mode, so we'll see what happens there. In this scenario, this whole scenario playing out, San Antonio would walk away from the draft with Malawach, Bryant, and Durant. That would be a fantastic draft night for the Silver and Black, would it? And everyone's concerned about whether Harper could fit next to Fox and Castle would be put to rest. That's something we've seen a lot, is how would those three work together, Castle at the 3, etc. Several things we need to fall into place for a crazy night like this to happen, but we've been told from insiders expect an active and wild offseason in the NBA. I agree. I think something's going to happen with the Spurs. I obviously don't know what because I'm not Brian Wright, I'm not Pop, etc. But let's give my 2 cents here. Let's talk about the players involved first. My Lunch is about 7'1" with an almost 7'7" wingspan. I believe he had the longest wingspan at the Combine. He showed he may have an ability to hit the 3 with some shooting drills, and at the Combine I think he also shot some 3s. So he shows potential. Bryant, who's right behind me, is 6'6.5", 7-foot wingspan though, a 39.5-inch vert, and he's set to be a 3-and-D type player, but limited action when he was in college. And then Kevin Durant, you guys all know who Kevin Durant is. Making these trades, if all this happens as Air Alamo laid out. I look at our roster, Spurs fans, and our starting lineup, I presume, would be Wemby, KD, Sohan, or Barnes, depending, Castle, and Fox. Then off the bench, My Lunch, Barnes or Sohan, Penny, I suppose Bryant maybe coming off the bench if he's not in the G League. And then our point guard is Blake Wesley. Or would Chris Paul want to come back as a backup with a reduced salary? He played all 82 games last year. Credit to him. So he seems healthy. And I got to tell you guys, I look at that lineup, and I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling Wemby, KD, small forward, Castle, Fox. I think the question mark is Kevin Malawach. How good can he be? What would be his floor as a rookie? What would be his eventual ceiling? If he can be his rookie year, no reason he can't be, right? If he can be a guy that scores, 12 points a game, 11 or 12, grabs 10 boards, blocks 2 shots, shows a little bit of range to keep defenses honest, then a lineup of Wemby, Malawach, KD, Castle, and Fox, my goodness, that would be huge. Literally huge. Wemby's got to be, 7'6" now? You get 7'6". My lunch is 7'1". KD's 6'11". Castle's 6'6". Fox is 6'3". We would have a ginormous front line. We would have a front line at least 2 out of 3 can shoot. We know Wemby can hit the 3. Kevin Durant's one of the greatest shooters of all time. And if you got Malawach out there hitting some shots, and Castle works on his 3 in the offseason, my goodness, that would be a lineup. But we still don't have a backup center. If he's a starter, I don't know. What I do know, Spurs fans, what I do know is the Spurs have a lot of options with that second overall pick. And let me just say this. I am not one of those one of those people that's all in on Dylan Harper. Like, yeah, I'm so happy we're getting Dylan Harper at 2, but I'm also not one of those folks that's against it. I am on the fence in the middle. If we take Dylan Harper at 2, great. I'm all on board. Wish him the best. If the Spurs trade down, grab somebody else, great. Wish him the best. I'm going to be happy however it plays out because I just want the Spurs to start winning some games and make the playoffs. That being said, Brian Wright, this is probably one of the biggest offseason Brian Wright has. We have players that we're not sure are part of the future. Your Devin Vassell's, your Keldon Johnsons. Some folks put a lot of question marks on Jeremy Sohan. We have the 2nd pick. We have the 14th pick. Are they going to trade down? Are they going to make a big play for Kevin Durant? This is such a huge offseason because it's really going to show us the trajectory of the Spurs over the next year or two. Are they going to go all young and draft a guy at 2, 14, and 38 and not make any big trades for vets and be a mid-team next year, 500, maybe even worse? Or are they going to try to win now? A lot of Spurs fans think it's win now with Wemby's hype being as high as it is. And some of you will point it out, TSR, Wemby is an alien. He's not like all these other tall guys that were injured all the time. He's different, and he is different. That being said, I do have slight concerns with how tall he is or going to become if he's not done growing. So I don't want to rush things, but I think we need to start taking the steps to be a contender, hopefully within 2 years and not 4 years. But whatever happens, you guys know I'll be Go Spurs Go. Whoever they draft, whoever they trade for, whether I like it or not, I'll be like, all right, you're wearing the silver black. You're my guy. Let's go get it. That's all I got. Drop a comment down below. Would you trade the 2nd pick with the Wizards for, 6 and 18? Or do you think that's a terrible move? Take the best player available at 2 and let everything play out. And then Kevin Durant, we've talked about at length. But if you want to talk about it again, would you trade Kelman and Devin? Get out of Devin's contract, which right now I don't think is a good one. Would you get out of their contract to get KD for 2 years? Wemby looks up to him. Well, actually looks down on him. But you get what I'm saying. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I love talking Spurs with you guys. That's all I got. Thank you, and as always, Go Spurs Go.